SUI continues to pump as it is climbing up the altcoin rankings, up 31% in the past week and up 120% in the past month since we initially covered this token here on the channel. Now, there is a lot of discussion about SUI being the new Solana of this cycle, as this altcoin currently sits at a $6.28 billion market cap and Solana sits at a $69 billion market cap, which would imply that this altcoin still has over 10x potential even after its recent move to the upside. And in today's episode of the Everything Crypto Show, I'm going to be comparing SUI to the SOL token and using this comparison to make price predictions for SUI in 2025. Now, before we hop into the content, just a friendly reminder that I am not a financial advisor, nor do I offer any sort of financial advice on YouTube. I am simply here for your crypto news and entertainment purposes. And if you do find the videos informative and entertaining, please consider hitting that sub and like button, and I do appreciate all of the support on the channel. So without further ado, we are going to get right into today's altcoin, or rather altcoins of discussion, as we are going to be comparing SUI to Solana. And I do think that it's a fair comparison to make, given that SUI is a new Layer 1 token that has not yet experienced a bull run. It does have some pretty interesting similarities that Solana had back in its previous run. And we are going to break all of that down in today's video and then go ahead and use this comparison to make price predictions for SUI, which I personally believe will be one of the best performing Layer 1s for this cycle. And I do think it has the potential to be a top 10 altcoin by market cap. So for starters, we're going to notice that SUI is up here 120% over the past month, currently sitting at a $6.28 billion market capitalization. And we have an interesting tweet here from Terrero Romero. And this tweet was actually back in July, and it did end up being incredibly accurate. So he says SUI network is forming the same pattern that Solana formed before its pump in 2021. And we can see here that this has played out pretty much to a T, okay? We saw Solana in 2021. It actually topped out at about $5, came all the way back down to about $1, and then boom, just completely broke through that $5 level. And from there, you can see that it went up to run and hit highs of over $250 in the prior cycle. So if we take a look at what SUI has done here as well, well, you're going to notice that SUI did actually top out in March at about the $2.18 level, pulled all the way back to about 45 cents, and then boom, from there has gone on to rip through that to, let's just call it 220, as it currently sits at 227. So this tweet did end up being incredibly accurate back in July. And yeah, it does look like SUI is kind of mirroring the move that Solana did make in its first complete bull cycle. Now, another big reason that SUI is being compared to Solana a lot is because one of the big reasons that people are so bullish on Solana is because of its ability to have really high transaction throughput, so a big TPS, while also having cheap fees and fast time to finality. In fact, we can see here, if we take a look at Solana, that the max TPS is 65,000 transactions per second, and time to finality is 12.8 seconds. So it takes about 12.5 seconds for these transactions to actually settle. Now, SUI, on the other hand, has 297,000 transactions per second compared to Solana's 65,000 TPS, and time to finality is 400 milliseconds compared to Solana's 12.8 seconds. So SUI does beat Solana on these two metrics, and there's a really interesting chart here that actually shows the top 10 chains by daily transactions. We actually saw SUI network flip Solana with a record-breaking performance, hitting more transactions at its peak than all other chains combined. So let's go ahead and take a look at this right here. And yeah, we can see SUI just climbing on up, and boom, you can see here that SUI briefly hit about 58 million transactions, while Solana was sitting at about 35 million. And yeah, Near was 7.3 mil, Tron was 6.7 mil. SUI here just taking a massive lead, just demonstrating the capability of this chain to handle a lot of transactions while still keeping gas fees cheap, which is a very bullish case for any layer 1. And that's definitely the reason that SUI has gained a lot of traction lately. It's just because of how many transactions it can handle, the impressive metrics of the chain. And in fact, if we actually go ahead and take a look at, I believe it is suivision.xyz. Yeah, you're going to notice here that the price action has been breaking out, but the blockchain has also been doing so on most other metrics. Okay, so you can see daily active accounts here. Let's go to view more. And then let's go to all time. So total transactions, blocks, all time highs. If we go to daily active accounts over here as well, I mean, you're going to notice for total active accounts, let's go back to the beginning of 2024, sitting at 8.44 mil. That is now sitting at 23 million active accounts. Okay, it was back at 9.57 mil in May. And even at the beginning of October, we were looking at about 22 million active accounts, now at 23 million. Let's go ahead and take a look at daily peak TPS. Also seeing massive spikes. The highest number of successful transactions per second recorded on a daily basis at highs as well. Daily new coins as well. So there are a lot of new tokens launching on the SUI chain, which is pretty reminiscent of Solana even this cycle when there was that massive meme frenzy and Solana was pumping as more tokens were being created. I see something very similar happening right now with SUI. And I do also want to show you guys this video. So creds to Mateo.sui. And this video basically shows you the difference between SUI and Solana, and just in terms of the transactions per second. So here you are on SUI making a swap using hop.ag. So this is one of their dexes. And you can see here in this video that they're making the swap, and boom, just like that, it is done. I believe it clocked in at 0.8 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. And then here on Solana, they're doing a swap on Jupiter, which is a DEX on the Solana blockchain. And they start the timer here, and you can see that it comes in at about, let's see, time to finality for that transaction. Yeah, so SUI 0.88 seconds compared to Solana's 10.59 seconds. Now, it's obviously worth noting that pretty much on every other metric, Solana does have SUI beaten out, as it is the much bigger chain. So it's got 165 protocols compared to SUI's 40 protocols. TVL, including staked and liquid stake tokens, is at 11.799 billion compared to SUI's 1.49 billion. Solana's stablecoin market cap is at 3.62 bill, while SUI's is at 381 mil. 24-hour volume is at 1.1 bill for Solana compared to 209 million for SUI. Let's see what else here. The market cap to total value locked ratio is interesting too, with Solana coming in at 5.84 to SUI's 4.35. Not that I think that really matters. But yeah, the point is Solana is much bigger than SUI. It's pretty much 10x bigger than SUI, when it comes to TVL, when it comes to that stable coin market cap as well. And it's got about 5x more 24-hour volume than SUI, which does obviously fluctuate a lot. And if we actually also take a look at the total value locked by non-EVM chains, it's worth noting that Solana actually makes up, I believe it's like 56% of TVL on non-EVM chains. And then SUI coming in here in second place with 6.75% of total value locked. Now, Solana got to be so big because in the last cycle, it was one of, if not the fastest blockchain. There were a ton of new users that were being onboarded. The ecosystem was developing rapidly, which is something I see happening right now with SUI. So, yeah, Solana is about 10x bigger than SUI in terms of the ecosystem total value locked, and as well as the market cap at 68.92 bill compared to SUI's 6.31 bill. Now, if we take a look at Solana here, I actually kind of want to find when it was at a similar market cap. Yeah, so it was actually in early April. Yeah, it was early April here where Solana was at about a $6.1 billion market cap, which is pretty much where SUI is sitting now. And if we actually take a look at that in terms of the price in early April here, it was at about about 22 bucks per token, and Solana proceeded to basically, go over 10x from there, actually running all the way up to over $250. So if you want to actually kind of get an idea of where SUI is at the moment, it is basically where Solana was right here in 2021, in the low $20 range before it had its first massive bull run. It is right there, okay? And if we take a look here at the SUI chart as well, you're going to notice that, yeah, sitting at a $6.3 billion market cap, just breaking out above the all-time high it put in back in March. So the next question would be, what does this look like if SUI is to hit a similar market cap to Solana? And if we go take a look at market cap of and type it in, if SUI was to have the current market cap of Solana, one token would be worth $24.97, so about 25 bucks per token. Now, if SUI was to actually have Solana's all-time high market cap, which I believe came in at over 80 bill, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, 85, so just under 86 billion. That would actually give one SUI token a price tag of $32.59, about a 14.29x from current levels. So is this going to happen with SUI? Nobody knows for sure, but I personally am bullish on SUI because I think there is one layer one that could have a Solana-like move this cycle. I do believe that it would in fact be this altcoin. Now, to wrap things up, I do also want to go ahead and take a look at the chart for SUI. And first, I do want to mention that even if you think SUI can only hit, half of the market cap of Solana, that would basically give one coin about a price tag of $12.50, which from current levels is still give or take about a 5x, right? And that would put SUI at, just over a $30 billion market cap. So just something to take note of, even if you don't think that it can reach the market cap of Sol, do you think it can reach half the market cap of Sol, and then use that market cap to kind of, base your price targets for this altcoin. So we are going to take a look at the SUI chart to wrap things up here, as we are pretty much in price discovery mode, okay? SUI has broken out to fresh all-time highs. Let's go ahead and take a look at the past year over here. Yeah, you're going to see that it got rejected at $2.18 back in March. That was the March peak. And then from there, we actually saw this all go ahead and pull back pretty much 78% from that level. And yeah, from that dip down to the 45-cent range, this thing then ran up over 380% as it now sits at $2.24. So in terms of the price action to the upside, I mean, we kind of just gave our price predictions and we are really in price discovery mode. There is no support or resistance because SUI is in uncharted territory. However, to the downside, the obvious first level of support would be the 218 level. So the prior cycle high, this cycle's high, but just its all-time high actually coming in and acting as some form of support after the breakout above. That would be a very bullish back test, in my opinion, if it is able to bounce off of there and continue higher. Now, if SUI does actually break down and go below the $2.18 level, see it finding some support at the $1.75 zone over here, which did actually act as support back on October 10th when we saw that dip in the altcoin market. And from there, the token did rally about 28% up to where it currently sits at about the $2.25 zone. And below that, I do see a significant area of support at give or take the $1.50 level as well. And to the upside, I'm not really making any short-term price targets because this altcoin is in price discovery. And as mentioned throughout this video, my thesis is that this coin will go much higher in 2025. So on that note, I hope you did enjoy the content in today's video. I hope you are all staying happy, safe, and healthy, and hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out for now.